Okay, we have more scientific evidence that the matchmaking actually did get changed. And when I say scientific evidence, I mean Deathy is exposed as a boosted player and is now losing rank while winning. I skipped over this for a second, but I want to live react to it. I didn't watch the entire thing.
So you can see, like, I've been going down despite overall winning. Okay. And there's one thing that's very interesting that I want to show. So recently you can see, like, I went down almost 11 spots from number 48 to number 59. I know it's probably very small on your screens. Okay. But one thing I want to show you is what that looks like on StatLocker. So this is my page when I go down from number 48 to number 59.
Okay. So Deathy dropped rank.
StatLocker performance grades, right? It's pretty bad. I'm number 8, number 9, number 7, number 4, number 12, number 6, etc. So
okay, C minus, D minus, B minus, B plus, E, C, E, C plus, okay?
It's not really looking so hot. And that can be explained by the fact that, one, I'm playing a very unique Victor playstyle, and two, the Grey Talon games, I'm just learning a new hero. I've literally never played Grey Talon, so of course I'm going to be terrible. And, you know, you look at my KDs, it's like, it's not really that bad, but my overall impact on the game is not great. And I agree with the ratings. I do feel like my impact on the game is not great. And I have gotten a little bit maybe lucky as far as like being able to win some of these games. But if you look at the previous page, right, where I've got a lot of very high StatLocker ranks, and that's when my rank kind of went from number 60 all the way to number 48. So
that's how it should be, no?
Spots. But if you look at the differences in win rate, so here I have 2 losses on this page, and here on this page I've got 3 losses.
Okay.
So overall, it's pretty similar, right? And yet, from one of these pages...
No, it's not. No. Okay, I'll let him finish, but that's not similar. So he played like shit and won a bunch, and then he played really well and won a bunch. I don't think that's similar.
I went from rank 60 to rank 48, and then from another one of these pages, I... went from rank 48 to rank...
I'll let him finish.
Like basically
sorry, guys.
First. What the hell is going on, right? Like, how is it possible that despite winning a large majority of my games, I'm still going down slightly in rank? And obviously, it's not dramatic or anything, but it is still like my MMR, which is what they're using behind ranks to track it, right? The number that they're using to track me, it's changing. Despite me having a positive win rate, it's changing downwards. My best guess is that they've introduced some sort of performance tracking of some kind, right?
Yes, we knew this.
They do the same thing as StatLocker, of course. Valve has access to probably way more metrics than, any other third-party website has. But recently, there was a post that showed, hey, like, they're tracking, like, wall jumps and all these things. As far as, like, some of these metrics, like wall jumps per minute and all of these other, like, weird metrics, it's something they've been tracking for a decent amount of time. And I doubt that those metrics actually affect rank. My best guess is that those metrics are in an effort to kind of, like, counter smurfs.
I think that, okay, so by the way, I agree with him here. Like, I think the movement, so there is a metric in the game where they track movement speed. I think that's simply for, like, research purposes. Like, I don't think that affects your rank. We don't know, right? We don't know the algorithm, but my guess is that they're tracking a lot of things to figure out, like, what makes a player good, I guess.
Probably. Deadlock is a unique game in the sense that, there's a lot of ways that you can move around the map. And there's a lot of ways where your player inputs will indicate to someone that you're a lot better than you should be if it's your first game.
What's up, bro?
Someone whose first game is not going to be like sliding around a lot. If there is performance-based metrics in a MOBA, that can be a little problematic.
Yeah, fell off.
I've talked about in the past why I don't personally think performance-based metrics should be a thing in a MOBA because it's very, very difficult to actually judge. I think that the only times where performance-based...
Pause. No. Deathy just admitted that he played poorly on new characters and lost rank, and then he played well and gained rank, and he says that shouldn't be a thing? No. I mean, I'm gonna use Deathy's words that he used to describe himself. Wait.
The average, as you can see, as far as like the StatLocker performance grades, right? It's pretty bad. I'm number 8, number 9, number 7, number 4, number 12, number 6, etc. So it's not really looking so hot. And that can be explained by the fact that, one, I'm playing a very unique Victor playstyle, and two, the Grey Talon games, I'm just learning a new hero. I've literally...
Okay, so I have to call this out. Sorry, I'm not trying to start drama, okay? He's excusing his performance by learning a new hero, which is completely fair, right? If I learn a new hero, I play like shit too. That means Deathy knows that he's playing suboptimally. Deathy, you know that you're playing worse than average. And yet you complain that you're dropping rank. I don't... sorry, I'm really not trying... I didn't watch this video before, but I thought it was really interesting. So if you play terrible, you should lose rank, no? Before, the entire issue was that you could play terrible, get lucky, and gain rank. You're saying he won, so he played well, but Deathy himself is admitting that he played poorly. You are entitled to your opinion, but like, just statistically looking, he probably got carried in a lot of those games, right? If you feel like you're playing poorly, even if you win, do you really deserve as much rating as a person that played well? And the funny thing is, Deathy after mentions that he played really well before, and then he climbed rank, right? Which is how it should be, in my opinion, right? So okay, I'll let him continue.
That's why I don't personally think performance-based metrics should be a thing in a MOBA, because it's very, very difficult to actually judge. I think that the only times where...
Okay, so again, you're saying personal performance base is very hard to judge, yet you admit in the same video that you played poorly. Those are your words. And again, I'm not trying to start shit with Deathy. I'm pointing out that this is what the matchmaking needed. The issue before was that it was so RNG that you could have a player that played poorly and gain rank by sheer luck. That's why the matchmaking felt so bad before. Now, I'm not saying it feels a lot better now. I'm saying over time, in theory, it should feel better, right? Because if you perform well, you will climb anyways, right? And if you perform well on average, you'll also win more games than lose, right? Is my point. And again, I'm not saying the stat locker performance is one-to-one what they're using in game. But like, I do think, like, let's imagine you get in a game and you play insanely well. You out-carry everyone, right? You 1v6 and you barely lose. Do you really deserve to lose as much rating as the teammates that AFK farmed? Or the teammates that went 0-20? Probably not, right? No. You can't say it's hard to judge personal performance when in the same video he admits that he performed poorly. Of course it's gonna be impossible to judge every single game perfectly, okay? But it's still more accurate than a random 50-50, right? Can we all agree?
This guy plays his first game and he goes, 30-3 or 30-0 or something crazy, then I do think that there should be some sort of detection for that. So okay, for the first couple of games, yeah, we do have some detection to make sure that, hey, if someone's a smurf, you rank them up very quickly so that they don't stay in low rank games and ruin those.
Sorry, I know I'm interrupting a lot, but like, I really want to get this out. I think if you play like shit for 10 games in a row, even if you win them, you do not deserve to climb. I could get on now after watching this video, play the worst Deadlock ever and get lucky, and I would gain rank in the old system. That, I think, is an issue. I could also play the best Deadlock of my life and lose 10 in a row, and then I would lose rank. That's also, like, personal performance should be taken into consideration.
But other than that, once you get to a certain rank, I don't really feel like one playstyle should be incentivized more than another. At the end of the day, no matter what your stats look like, maybe you got, like, one kill that really swung.
Objection. We're gonna be in the court. I don't know what he means with that. We don't know how the algorithm works. We don't know how much KD takes into consideration. We don't know how much it takes objective damage into consideration. We don't know how much it takes normal damage into consideration. We don't know the playstyle that gives you more rating. We don't know. And that's a good thing, by the way, right? If we knew how to abuse the system, it wouldn't work. It's a good system because we don't know how exactly it works. It should be a lot of factors.
Won the entire game, right? Like, you got that one kill that turned the game around. For example, I played Grey Talon. I kind of like threw the whole game, but towards the end of the game, I got a super key kill on Mina, right? And then she was dead for 90 seconds. We were able to turn it around and get mid boss because of that. That's a kind of impact that can't easily be measured by stats. So obviously,
I think that's a fair point. Like, yes, you could play like shit the entire game and then like have a sick mid-boss steal. It averages out is my point, right? On average, you will perform around the same, right? You will have highlights and lowlights, right? Like sometimes you play like shit, sometimes you play really well. So it's true that it can't measure that one like insane impact kill that maybe won him the game. It can maybe tell when I get into the next game that I played really well across the game or across multiple games or really poorly, right? So it is true that no system is perfect. My point is that a random ass 50-50 where it's just win or loss is way less accurate than determining personal performance. Does one kill make you deserve higher rating if you played like shit the whole game? I mean, it depends on how impactful the kill was. I would say no on average, right? Unless it was like an insane outplay, right? Let's say he goes into mid-boss, parries 4, and gets like 2 mid-boss. Like, like it depends. But like, Valve is pretty smart. I want to say they probably have something like that.
They correlate very much with your win-loss, but rather with your performance. So do you feel like when you're having like really good games, your rank goes up faster than that? Let me know in the comments, because that's what it felt like for me.
I mean, that's fair, by the way. I will give him that. I think wins and losses should still matter more than any personal performance. it should still be above 50%. I do agree that if you win 8 out of 10 games, you should be climbing. Just not as much as someone that played like really well, okay? So that one I agree on. What probably happened with Deathy in specific is, or the tracker that Valve has thought he did so poorly on Great Talent that it ranked him down even though he won. That, I think, shouldn't happen. I think it should still, like, wins and losses should matter more than the performance. I agreed.
You guys, right? I showed you guys on StatLocker, showed you guys my win rate, and despite both of those things, you know, my rank does not seem to be following that exactly. Once you guys share that in the comment, the other thing I want to discuss is why they would possibly want to do that, right? Because I don't think it's coming out of nowhere. And one of the big complaints that a lot of people have had is, hey, my rank is like not moving quickly. Like I was an Archon because I don't
that
know,
is an issue, by the way.
Played with some friends,
Ranks moved way too slow, and I feel like they're still moving pretty slowly right now.
I didn't improve that quickly, and now I'm an Archon, and I feel like my rank barely moves. You know, that's a complaint that I get very, very often. I think that by having more metrics like this, Valve is probably hoping to, in part, solve this issue of not having people stay in a rank for too long where maybe they don't belong, right?
Yeah.
And you could
argue that's a good thing, no?
With the old system, they would get out of the rank. It's not a question that they would get stuck there. They would get out of it eventually. If you
it would take too long, though.
Win rate. It would just take you a really long time.
Yeah.
And I think that brought a lot of frustrations. Now, Deadlock is still in a playtest, and honestly, the ranked mode is not really like, I mean, it's not fleshed out at all, right? Like, there's no unranked queue. It's all ranked, and it's all unranked, which kind of causes a lot of other issues that we could talk about, but you know, Deadlock's not quite ready for that yet. It'll be soon, probably, but whenever the game goes open beta, whatever that is.
You hear him here? He acts like he doesn't know the release date, even though he does. Bad poker face, Deathy. We know you've been invited to the secret Valve test survey event. You know. Tell us, Deathy. No, I don't know. I'm 100% serious, by the way. I think Deathy knows. I think Deathy has like a time span. There was a rumor, again, I cannot confirm nor deny, but there was a rumor that multiple big creators were invited to a secret NDA event by Valve. I wasn't one of them because I'm critical of them.
Do something like this, in my opinion, is to make it so that you don't get stuck in your rank as long as you did previously, especially if you're having very good individual performances.
Maybe it's fake news, yeah.
It's probably to combat smurfs. So, you know, we know there's a lot of smurfs right now, especially in higher ranks, but I would say pretty much all ranks. I mean, you guys can let me know if your experience has varied, but you know, there's definitely a decent amount of smurfs, and that's because smurfing it's reportable, but to be honest, I've never seen anyone get banned for smurfing. Like, not one person. I haven't seen anyone's alt account get banned for smurfing, and like people are like blatantly smurfing like on stream, like in front.
I just want to mention this. Listen, like, this might sound like self-defense, but I think it's very important to differentiate between smurfing and alt accounting. I have alt accounts. Most pro players and streamers do. Lomain has like 6 accounts, by the way, right? Most pro players and streamers have multiple accounts. My opinion is, as long as you try your hardest on all of them, it's fine. The issue comes in when you push the account to low rank on purpose to shit on lower rank players. Yeah, no, but like that, I've never smurfed. I truly mean that. Like I play on alt accounts. They're all high eternus. They're a tiny bit lower than my main, but they're all high eternus, and I try my hardest on all of them. Did I crash out on my alt accounts? Yeah. Have I crashed out on my main? Yes.
And there's no punishment, right? And if you're not banning the people that are like literally smurfing in front of like a big audience, then you're definitely not banning anyone for smurfing.
No. You're saying smurfing, like smurfing in my, like, I think making an alt account with the goal to shit on lower rank players is disgusting. I hate it. I did one series in Unranked to Eternus and I had no fun. I won't do that shit again. Unless they like change something drastically. I do not enjoy playing against lower rank players. In fact, if you watch me, you know I love playing against players that are better than me. I want the highest rank possible. Like, I want the hardest game possible. The higher, the more fun it is for me. Like, I do not enjoy playing with lower rank players.
That's my take, right? I don't really think anyone's getting banned right now. But, you know, having something like performance-based, etc., should make it so that the smurfs also, like, get out of those ranks quicker. And that it's harder to, like, kind of, like, I guess, fake being a lower rank. I mean, you can always fake it. Obviously, you can always play bad on purpose, but that's probably at least part of what they're doing. And I doubt that Valve is like happy with the smurf situation, and I'm sure that they want to address it.
By the way, I just want to get this out, not only about me, but I think from all the creators I've seen, I don't think anyone plays bad on purpose to have an account that's lower rank. Other than one guy I heard that is, I'm not gonna name any names. They are like, you know, but like on average, I think the average Deadlock content creator at least, or high level player, does not like keep their account low rank on purpose, is my point.
It's probably just not a priority for them right now. But as for those of you that haven't seen in Dota, like in Dota, there's been a lot of like Smurf ban waves and
I think if you keep your account in low rank on purpose, you need to be banned, by the way.
They've been like harsher on Smurfs, etc. over the years. So I doubt that they want Deadlock to be a game that's, you know, riddled by Smurfs. And I'm sure that they're taking measures. And like I talked about earlier at the beginning of the video, there are things that they can measure that make detecting Smurfs in Deadlock easier, right? Like in the new player, you're not going to be spamming slide. You're not going to be dash jumping right away.
Sorry, I know I'm interrupting a lot. I need to get this out though. It's completely fair to talk about Smurfs. In my opinion, Smurfs are not nearly as big of an issue right now as bad matchmaking in every rank. You always notice that one guy on the enemy team that is like way stronger than you, and that guy should be banned if they're like smurfing. But the main issue is that you could be like an Oracle player, and an Oracle player that is against you could be like way better or way worse than you. That's the issue. Stacking is also really big, yeah. Stacking is OP. Like if you stack with your friends, it's so much better than solo queue. Like you have an inherent advantage. That's why you see all the pro players stack.
Edge boosting, like all of these things that are more like, I guess, I don't want to say high skill, but like you kind of have to know the game to know these things, right? And I think that gives like really good tools for Valve to be able to detect Smurfs. Other than that, I can't really think of any other reasons why Valve would be combating this. Now, like I said, we don't actually really know what's going on, right? Because Valve doesn't really communicate these things. And it's probably a good thing that they don't communicate these things because you don't want people to be able to game the system. But
yeah,
I think if we just talk about it a little bit in the comments, we can probably get a decent idea of what's going on now.
So you know that they shouldn't... Deathy agrees that we probably shouldn't know how the matchmaking works, yet he wants his comments to tell him how the matchmaking works. Memes aside, I think it's interesting, but it's a good thing that Valve does not tell us what exactly they're measuring. Because if Valve came out tomorrow and they would be like, guys, yeah, we have personal performance. The most important thing in the game is objective damage. Everyone is just going to run into walkers, right? We shouldn't know. It's a good thing that we don't know. And yes, I know that comments are for boosting the algorithm. I get it. Genuinely, I don't want to exactly know how the system works. Because if we know how exactly it works, it's ruined.
Such as like, has this affected matchmaking? So as far as matchmaking changes, you know, a lot of people were saying, you know, this has affected matchmaking, etc. I don't know if you guys have noticed it in your matchmaking games. Obviously, I'm kind of like I'm not in the same situation as a lot of you guys where I play against the same players pretty much no matter what. So matchmaking sometimes feels good, sometimes doesn't feel good, but it's kind of always similar-ish for me. I'm curious how this has felt for you guys in matchmaking, right? How's the fact that the rank changes seem to be happening quicker and they seem to be happening a little bit more differently? Has that affected the quality of your games positively or negatively? And try to think about it objectively, because very often we tend to be negative towards matchmaking. Like nobody really says when matchmaking is better. People tend to only complain when matchmaking is bad, but nobody ever says like matchmaking is good right now. So try to think about it. Like think about the games that you played in the last, like, I want to say this is definitely like in the last week or two max. Don't go further than that, but in the last week or two.
See, if you follow the Metro channel, you would have known about the matchmaking changes day one.
Were the games like higher quality, right? And I'm gonna guess that it probably helped a little bit, but I'm not sure it's gonna create like a massive change or anything like that. At the end of the day, there's still gonna be a lot of variance, especially if...
By the way, like, let me just get this out. Overall, since the changes, I had 4 or 5 days that were amazing, and then I had 3 terrible days, and then they dialed it back a bit, I think. I think the longer this goes on, if it's good, the better it's gonna be. Because it takes a while until people get adjusted properly, right? So theoretically, assuming it's a good system, the longer it goes, the better it should be. Is it too early to tell? It should be around now. I haven't played in like 3 days, right? It should be around now where we notice some differences. And yes, I agree, it's never going to be perfect. And I'm not saying it's good now, right? But I do think the idea of, again, personal performance should make the game better.
If people's rank is moving even faster, that might create more variance.
I disagree on that, by the way. I think if you have a good system that tracks personal performance, there's going to be less variance because it's going to be less 50-50 RNG.
Idea. So I hope that by sharing stuff in the comments, it might enlighten the situation for us a little bit.
Anyways, good video, some good points. I disagree with some of them, but like, he has a pretty decent idea. I just came in, TLDR. Deathy played poorly, dropped rank, and is complaining that he dropped rank. That's a joke. That's a joke. What happened is he noticed it. He noticed he dropped rank after playing suboptimally while winning. And I'll end with this. I agree that you should, if you have an above 50% win rate, you should still be climbing. But if you play poorly while doing it, it should be slower. I think wins and losses should still be the most important factor. But I think other factors like your own performance should be considered quite highly, like 30 to 40% of your rating. What do I disagree with? Deathy is saying, the main thing I disagree with is he's saying that personal performance is bad in general in a MOBA because it's too hard to track. I disagree with that. I think it's always more accurate to have some personal performance than it is to have a random 50-50. Sometimes I feel like Metro is jealous of Deathy because he's more handsome. I'm definitely not. That's definitely not my opinion.